Hello and welcome to our first webinar from our virtual event series of Platform Uptake project. My name is Alexander Nikolov and I'm working for SYNYO GmbH based in Vienna, and we are coordinating the Platform Uptake project. The idea of these virtual events is on one side to share relevant insights we gather within the project, but beyond that we would like to get in touch with further stakeholders from the ecosystem of open platforms in the active and healthy aging in ambient assisted living domains, get additional information on the capability gaps and innovation needs in the field, and feed all this information back into the project. This particular webinar represents the official start of a series of virtual events which will seek to raise awareness of the services and benefits of existing open platforms in the field, promote technology for active and healthy aging, highlight existing needs and requirements for active and healthy aging, and ultimately facilitate long-lasting collaboration between the demand and supply sides. So within the next 90 minutes, together with our partner and colleague, Mr. Frederik Levens from Levens-Lackman, Belgium, we will introduce the Platform Uptake project to the audience, provide concise overview of the current achievements, and informing about the project. We will also seek to provide information about the planned matchmaking events, including their goal and benefits for the participating organizations. Additionally, we will announce the expected award for the best pitches. The agenda will continue with some points pertaining to the matchmaking events page on the Open Information Hub, its features and submission form for the pitch decks. Mr. Levens will then continue with short presentation on the upcoming events and opportunities for networking with relevant stakeholders in the field. The event will culminate shortly after 11 o'clock with a Q&A session. Please feel free to ask any questions at any time in the chat option in the right below corner, or if you would like, you could also interrupt us during the presentation. I will be more than happy to answer your questions either during the event or after completion. As you know, aging presents one of the greatest socioeconomic challenges of our century. The European Union has devoted a high level of resources to ICT projects in the field of healthy aging. A considerable number of open platforms for the development of innovative solutions in the AHA domain have been created. Unfortunately, their impact in the field as well as potential and existing gaps haven't been thoroughly analyzed and assessed. Some of these platforms are known to the wider public and their stakeholders. Some of them have even stopped existing. Against this background, Platform Uptake project seeks to understand the whole ecosystem of open platforms in the field and contribute to the development of an open market for digital solutions for active and healthy aging. And of course, this is the goal of our project, ultimately promote the uptake of open platforms. The Platform Uptake project is a coordination and support action funding from the European Union Horizon 2020 Research and Innovation Program with a duration of 26 months. For those from you who do not know what an open platform is, we would like to just shortly share our understanding for open platforms. An open platform is a platform based on open standards, not only, but such that any willing party can build applications or platform services that work together and support safe and high quality compassionate care. It allows applications and services from multiple vendors to work together for individual users, whatever their roles are. That could be a clinician, a patient, that could be a carer, for example, social worker, or a commissioner, for example. An open platform ecosystem is a vendor and technology neutral, eliminates lock-in, facilitates innovation, and forces vendors to compete on quality value and service. So to address this complex topic and technical topic, SYNYO GmbH created a consortium consisting of 12 organizations from 10 different European countries. The consortium brings together a balanced combination of capabilities with regards to research on the active and healthy aging, technical expertise, research design, training expertise, networking, and engagement. So to achieve the project goal, namely to achieve the vision uptake of the existing and future open platforms in the field, we identified factors which are critical for the development, deployment, and spread of open platforms in both domains. As well, we also defined KPIs for the analysis of the platform success. Departing from the outcomes of this analysis and established KPIs, we developed monitoring and self-evaluation tools, which we'll touch upon later on in this presentation, to support platform providers, but also their stakeholders to assess platform success, uptake, capability gaps, and evaluation potential. We also sought to depict a clear picture of the progress made by the existing platforms. Therefore, we analyze the most representative cases, their evolution, sustainability, and socioeconomic benefits. All activities related to this knowledge collection, knowledge evaluation, and establishment of insights and outcomes, we carry out through the involvement of our also presentation within the framework of workshops, webinars like this one, or any other video consultation over familiar to you communication programs. So to enable the process of ecosystem mapping, we defined at the very beginning a glossary which allowed us to establish a clear definition of the technical, contextual, and business terms to be used by the consortium and also applied in our reporting. The glossary helped us to build understanding on the common aspects of the platforms which we were seeking to map and later on. The research, the stakeholders started with the identification of those who use directly the services of the platforms or profit through the technology developed on the top of them. Therefore, our analysis focused on platforms with applications in the ambient assisted living and active and healthy aging domains. However, to ensure a broader and more in-depth analysis, more generic platforms such as Fireware that have active and healthy aging among their possible application domains have been also included. These platforms can therefore have end users outside both domains or be dedicated to software developers. On the right image on this slide, you can see the initial established naming of the end users of open platforms, which were subject to our analysis. Based on the outcomes of the ongoing analysis of their actual needs, requirements, and interaction with the platform services, the namings were later on adopted. As a result, we have now, as a very first group, the primary end users, or the older persons using the technology built upon the platform or integrated into the platform. The secondary end users were represented by healthcare care organizations, home and community support services, authority and facilitators, which are in concrete terms represented by policymakers, standardization bodies, insurance companies, public authorities, and finally the developers of technology for active and healthy aging. These are the SMEs in Europe who, for example, develop devices which can be deployed in the environment of older person to collect vital information, or any wearable or smartwatch. So these four main stakeholder groups will be visualized later on in one of our slides, so you can have a better picture of who they are. During the process of the ecosystem mapping, at the very beginning, 48 platforms were in, and related projects were chosen based upon their gained expertise and experience in the field. Later on, this initial group of 48 platforms was reduced to 18. The reasons why some platforms have been discarded include some factors such as low impact on the development of ambient assisted living and active and healthy aging technologies, completion of the project activities 10 years ago or more. Some of the platforms which we initially analyzed were considered even obsolete. Another exclusion criteria for the subsequent analysis phase was not to consider all those projects that aimed at specific solution, either by type of pathology or by end user group. So therefore, this short list of 18 platforms was narrowed down to a list of 8 main representative cases or platforms. Some of the names which you see on this slide are pretty prominent and maybe also familiar to you. These 8 platforms and related projects were subject to analysis of their business, technical and contextual aspects. These 8 platforms and related projects including their representatives, are also subject to continuous engagement from our side. Some of these specialists participate actively in the knowledge exchange with our consortium and contribute, therefore, to the validation of the ongoing project result. So as you see, we try to build upon the experiences and move on with further insights and outcomes from the field. As already mentioned, some of these projects and related platforms are prominent examples for technology developed to create open market for digital technology for active and healthy aging. For example, Active Edge IoTest, at the very beginning of the list, is a European multi-centric large-scale pilot on smart living environments. It's a long and pretty technical name, but the main objective of this project was to build the first European IoT ecosystem across 9 deployment sites, reusing and scaling up underlying open IoT platforms, and provides interoperability between these platforms, and of course enable the deployment of IoT-based solutions for active and healthy aging. The second platform-related project in this list is Fireware. I'm just giving you some examples so you can have an idea of what this project have tried to achieve. Fireware is an open platform with services successfully applied not only in both domains we're looking at analyzing, but also across many others verticals such as smart cities, smart agriculture, and also present in many countries, including United States. So to ensure the broad uptake of these open platforms by the end user communities, we have created for each platform a profile on the Platform Uptake Open Information Hub. The profile consists of information on the manual analysis. It includes some demo videos and materials, which additionally include attention of potential collaboration partners. I will show you later on how this looks like. As a part of our work on looking how to increase the uptake of open platforms in AHA domain and IL domain, Platform Uptake defined a set of strategic key performance indicators to be tracked for successful uptake, interoperability, synergies, and cost benefit analysis of those platforms. An analysis of current literature and practices revealed that there are no specific or relevant KPIs that serve to the measurement of the uptake and success of these platforms. This means for our consortium that there is an apparent lack of strategy for platform uptake. So therefore, we developed this set of KPIs that can serve to establish those particular strategies. The definition, clusterization, prioritization of these 4 sets of KPIs have been carried out following a review, for example, based on the International Consortium for Health and Outcomes Measurement methodology, and according to our 4 different perspectives defined by a group of stakeholders. These are namely the primary end users, already mentioned at the beginning, the secondary end users, and solution developers for active and healthy aging and assisted living technology. Each cluster represents one of the most relevant stakeholder groups for our platforms. The KPIs included and prioritized per cluster represent how these KPIs affect these target stakeholder groups. For example, how these KPIs have an impact on them, to what extent they are of their interest, to what extent the KPIs are important for them, etc. Some of these initially identified KPIs, among others, as you can see on this slide, for example, for the primary end users, which are the older persons, are usability, user experience concerning the technology built upon the platform. For the secondary end users, again, these are the care organizations, healthcare organizations. What's important for them is that the platforms are easy to integrate in their current system or environment, that the platforms comply with different legislations such as GDPR, or they comply with different communication standards. For the developers of technology for active and healthy aging and assisted living, which are the SMEs, the companies, what important is that the platforms are scalable or compatible with different communication standards, that the organization developed the platform offers 24/7 technical support in case there's some problems with the platform accessibility. And of course, for the authorities and facilitators, which are all the standardization bodies, legislative institutions, what important is that the technology built upon these platforms is affordable for all the persons or for the end users, and that this technology has positive impact on the healthcare cost. So based on these established KPIs, but also the outputs for the 3 dimensions of analysis, one more time, the technical, the business, and the contextual, platform uptake setup methodology for monitoring and evaluation of the uptake and other success indicators of existing platforms in both domains. This methodology allows the measurement of the set of the KPIs and the general monitoring and evaluation of open platforms. It provides also a solid and complete tool covering more than 50 questions addressing these 3 dimensions. The methodology is used by our consortium to implement the monitoring and self-assessment tools that will be implemented within the coming weeks into our Open Information Hub. So as already mentioned, we are currently working on the implementation of the monitoring and self-assessment tools, which will be available pretty soon on the hub. They're based on these KPIs and methodology, and will be accessible and usable for the different stakeholder groups of platform uptake. Their role will be to support the platform providers and users to self-assess the success and uptake the platforms which are being analyzed by our consortium. So to bring the importance of open platforms, but also highlights their benefits for the development of technology in the field, the project applies various communication channels and means. Among the most important ones are our Open Information Hub, the project Twitter account, and YouTube channel. Here on this slide, you can see a snapshot of our platform directory, including all the platform profiles of the platforms which we have analyzed. The hub constitutes such an online space where stakeholders can gain an overview of the ecosystem of the open platforms in the field and showcase their contributions. It also aims to target providers of open platforms as well, technology developers, care organizations, researchers, policymakers at local, national, and European levels. The section Platforms presents an overview of the most representative cases of open platforms in active and healthy aging and assisted living domains. Each profile contains information on different aspects of analysis to which our platforms were subject to. The provided data is enriched through some appealing visual content such as images, infographics, promotional videos. Hence, the project seeks to ensure the sustainable exploitation of the platform services and establish collaborations with the end user groups. At the beginning of the project, we have concentrated our efforts and analysis on open platforms developed within EU-funded projects. However, to complete the analysis of the ecosystem and to allow for our stakeholder groups to depict a clear picture of the factors with relevance for the successful uptake of these platforms in the field, we also include commercial ones and present their success stories. To support the growth of the project's knowledge database, the platforms providers are kindly invited from us to submit information on the solutions via dedicated submission form. Of course, some of you who are also providers of such platforms are kindly invited to do so. The form requests a short description of the platform and its benefits for the end users and asks the provider to specify the criteria for openness which the platform complies with. As you can see on the snapshot here, some of the options to choose from refer to whether, for example, the platform applies open IPS or is based on open standards or is vendor or technology neutral. As already mentioned, all these criteria are important for their potential collaboration partners such as care organizations, healthcare organizations, or developers technology in the field. The collected data are displayed in a separate profile in order to create more visibility and exposure for the short case platforms. Each platform includes information on the main aspects of its development and implementation, such as business, contextual, and technical overview, additional information on available, for example, marketplace, lab, or membership options. Some of these platforms, which are visualized here, offer some membership groups, is also provided to induce the visitor to engage with the organization and contribute to the uptake of its platform. Any solutions developed on the top of this platform are also presented on the hub, and also a link to the profile to enable cross-referencing through the knowledge database of the hub. Similar approach is applied also in case of the solutions for active and healthy aging. The section solutions represents a collection of applications, devices, technologies which are built upon the platforms analyzed by the PlatformUptake project or exist as standalone solutions. By showcasing these solutions for active and healthy aging, the project consortium seeks to boost their uptake and distribution. The section is filterable based on different parameters such as technology, origin, and use case. Use case means the field of daily activities in which this application is applied to improve the quality of life of the older person, for example. This collection is expected to grow further due to the constant input received from the various communication channels of the project. Again, as in the case of platforms, the consortium creates and applies, in this case, also inputs or submission form for new solutions. The form requests a short description of the solution, its benefits for the user, and license fees when applicable. The provision of information on customers and social media channels is optional and supports additionally the upscale of the presented solution. Again, here to to visualize the cases, the use cases in which the application is applied. We highlighted these cases with different color, so the interested person can immediately identify the applicability of the solution. And again, to enable this cross-referencing I mentioned at the beginning between the platforms and the solutions built upon them, we have linked here the related platforms on top of which the solution is built. Another interesting area for our stakeholders and also for you is our area of interviews, which we have recorded with our main stakeholder groups. Among the interviews are providers of open platforms in the active and healthy aging and assisted living domains, including platforms that have been developed as a part of European Union funded project, but as well commercial ones. The interviews directly address the 4 sets of KPIs which were established by the project and which I have shown to you a few slides before. These videos also provide an overview of the benefits of platforms for end user groups, as well as insights into the challenges for the large-scale uptake. So if among you are such organizations interested in presenting their achievements and activities, you're of course more than welcome to contact us after the webinar to arrange such an interview. Last but not least, we use the Platform Uptake Twitter account, YouTube channel to disseminate information on current project activities and upcoming initiatives. The project actively promotes the video contents available on the hub or on the YouTube channel by offering to external stakeholders to embed the videos into their organization websites. External video materials which were created by the project responsible for the development of the analyzed platforms are also included to maximize the outcomes from their efforts and for the promote, of course, the uptake of platforms. All right, so next, our colleague Frederic will present to you some interesting information on the upcoming platform uptake matchmaking events and expected benefits for the participants. Frederic, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, Alexander, for that overview of what Platform Uptake is and does and has done and will still be doing. As you will have seen, this is an entire ecosystem that we're looking at and that we're working with. Of course, everything evolves around those platforms, open platforms that can allow to build, integrate solutions that are ultimately meant to support older people and their care providers, family caregivers, or professional caregivers and care organizations to help them live longer independently at home or to support them even when they're in a care home and a nursing home, etc. So that is, I think, in all these projects always the ultimate goal. Of course, it's about the end user, the older person. But then we see these platforms where obviously there is a lot of interaction between the platform, the technical backbone that can have certain levels of openness, and it can go all the way from fully open source to let's say open APIs, etc. These are of course, for any technical people among us, easily understandable concepts. And yeah, you can go to the next slide, Alexander. Which again shows these different stakeholders. So you have those platforms. We were showing a few. A lot of them were and have been and still are developed under European funded projects. But obviously, there's also a number of let's say more commercially available platforms that are developed by individual companies. But then they have to work with other technology developers, solution providers, device manufacturers, monitors, sensors, etc. I think we all know the wide range of devices and solutions that we're talking about to assist people, to monitor, to et cetera. As I mentioned, ultimately need to use those final solutions, and the fact that they can be built on open platforms ultimately can have a number of benefits and values, whether it's in terms of cost effectiveness, or in terms of usability, and so on. And there are other stakeholders as well when it comes to paying for certain solutions or services. So we talk about policy makers and bodies, public policy institutions and organizations, or insurers, etc., whom are, of course, also an important part of the health care and social care system. So one of the things, obviously, we're trying to do with platform uptake, as the name says, is to get these platforms better known, better taken up, especially, of course, in the field of active and healthy aging. One of the things we were also seeing is that a number of platforms that could have a use and an application in active and healthy aging are currently very successful and very much used in smart cities, in green economy solutions and applications, but are not always taken up so much in the field that we're looking at around AHA, AAL, and all these things. So this is our role, and that's precisely where we want to involve those different stakeholders, and for which we will be, let's say, organizing matchmaking, networking events, and for which we will be calling for, let's say, submission of a pitch, and this can be both from the supply side, the providers, the platform developers, but also companies with, let's say, the solutions, or at least devices that can create a solution, but also from the demand side, from care organizations or organizations that represent all the people and so on, when they see certain needs that aren't currently addressed, or for which they are still looking for solutions. This will be an open call to both sides to submit such a pitch, so that we can present those. Well, they can actually present themselves during a next matchmaking event, and then from there, obviously, find each other and start a collaboration to help each other, and obviously for any companies and organizations involved that are providing such platforms and solutions to find new partners, new business opportunities. The next slide, please. So just to mention, to go on from this slide, how will we support this matchmaking, this networking? We have, of course, different, let's say, channels and different connections within the ecosystem that will help us to realize this. You see them listed here, but we can go into a bit more detail. There is obviously the consortium itself that is behind Platform Uptake, where we have 12 partners in 10 European countries, from different, let's say, perspective and angles, more technical, but also people more related to the care provider side, or the end user side, the older persons, and so on. But even, I would say, more importantly, there is a wide range of relevant projects, some projects from the past, but which are continuing through new initiatives or newly created organizations with whom we're all in touch, but also current projects, and you see a few listed here, like Gatekeeper, Shapes, but there are others, Pharaon, whom are all in one way or another working on solutions in active and healthy aging, but also in specifically on open platforms, or even the integration of certain different open platforms So obviously, as a coordination and support action, which we are with Platform Uptake, we have to, let's say, combine all these initiatives, combine all these efforts, and jointly they obviously represent a wide, very wide network of relevant stakeholders. Besides those projects, there are quite a range of networks that we are in touch with, whether it has to do with IEEE, which you can see listed here, which is more on the standard side. Same with SEN, or even the ISO group on the aging society. There is for AHA, I think we have a representative here as well in the meeting who are taking forward the EIP on AHA, and a whole range of others, associations, cost actions, and so on. I think we all know there is a lot going on. So this helps us to enlarge the network and to sort of assure better involvement and better opportunities for matchmaking. Okay, and so this will culminate in actually more than just one matchmaking event, where these pitches that we will receive and that we will select will be presented, so people will have the opportunity at the event, but also at the same time through exposure in newsletters and on the Open Information Hub, which you have seen before. So there's a wide range of channels that will be at your disposal to present your own initiatives or your solutions, your offerings, or, as I mentioned, your requests, your needs for certain benefits, certain applications. And this will be awarded, or at least a number of presentations and pitches will be selected and awarded with a participation in our final project event, which will also include exhibition opportunities and so on. So above, let's say, the mere opportunity of being involved and directly in those matchmaking events, there will be that opportunity for some to have exposure at our final project event, which is now scheduled around the early March, and most probably would be also in the frame of the Aging Fit event, which is an existing event. I'm sure that many or most of you are aware of that event. I'll hand over to you again, Alexander. Shall I continue to share?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I see that the connection from your side is better than mine. So please, if you could move on. So thank you very much, Frederick, for this really nice introduction to our upcoming matchmaking events and networking opportunities. Indeed, there will be plenty of activities offering to our stakeholders, providers of open platforms, healthcare organizations, social security services, really nice opportunities to get engaged with their counterparts and profits through our network. So the matchmaking overview page is retrievable through the navigation bar on the top of the home page of the Open Information Hub, and provides general information on the upcoming events. Each of the sub-pages includes concrete information on the upcoming matchmaking event, including its agenda and a short outline of the goal and expected result of the event. On the right side of the sub-page, interested stakeholders will have the opportunity via submission form to fill out their organizational information, interests, and offerings. They will have also the possibility to upload their pitch deck and participate in one of the sessions which are foreseen as part of the event's agenda. Organizations which can participate in the match interested parties, of course, can join us via the registration button. Next slide, please. So this is how the submission form for the pitch decks look like. These will include an option for the interested organizations to download prepared by a standard presentation template, which can be used for the creation of the pitch decks. These pitch decks should not be longer than 5 slides and continue more than 5 minutes. Interested organizations are also kindly invited to submit information on their areas of activities and expectations for the event. This way, we could create after the event a short profile of the participated organizations and promote their services via our communication channels, such as the newsletter, the Twitter account, the YouTube channel, etc. So there are plenty of benefits after the actual participation of the organizations in our pitch events. Any participation in the pitch event session is, of course, connected to an actual registration via the registration button. Next slide, please, Frederick. Next slide. This way, we can allocate your pitch deck to your actual registration and decide on the time you can present during the event. Once you are included in the agenda, we will inform you via the provided by you contact by you. So on these slides, you can see the before and after states of each event page. The after state of the page will include, instead of the agenda, an interactive collection of all pitch presentations with contact information and image of the presenters in their organizations. This will allow interested stakeholders to still have the opportunity after the event to engage and collaborate. All right, so now I'll pass again the floor to Frederick, who will talk on some other upcoming and exciting platform uptake events.
Yeah, thank you. So we do indeed have, next to our own self-organized events, there are a few other opportunities for us, but obviously I think also interesting for all of you listening in that we are participating in, and that may also be of interest to you. Actually, there's next weekend, the 16th and 17th of October, there is the traditional AAL hackathon, which has in the past always taken place in the frame of the AAL forum. This year, this will be, as I mentioned, next weekend in Trieste in Italy, organized by the Polo Tecnologico of Alto Adriatico, with a wide range of other partners, and obviously the AAL program involved as well. And so this will be a weekend, a hackathon weekend, where they will have a number of teams developing solutions. They're looking specifically at addressing isolation and loneliness in older people, and coming up with technological solutions that could help address these challenges and problems. We, with Platform Uptake, are supporting the event. We're also presenting in the opening session there. So anyone in the neighborhood or still interested to actually go there, this is possible. You can find some information on our website, or contact us if you need details or a registration link. Part of the event will be transmitted online as well, but obviously the actual hackathon activity is on site in Trieste. And then immediately following is actually the European Week of Active and Healthy Aging, which now fully incorporates the AAL forum. And we do have a workshop there, again, of course, on the larger scale uptake of open platforms. This will take place on Monday, the 18th of October, in the afternoon at 3 o'clock. The event is fully online. We also have a virtual exhibition stand there, as do many other projects and other initiatives. The total event is 4 days, from Monday to Thursday. But so our workshop will be on Monday, and we will actually have a company from Portugal called UbiWare who will be there with us. They are involved also in a number of European projects, but also have their own experiences in the field of open platforms, open solutions, and so on. So this will be quite interesting to hear, let's say, from practice, what is happening and what can and should happen further into the future. Then you already saw that set up to announcement. So this will be an event on the 16th of November, where we will again bring together a wider range of stakeholders. So let's say the meetings will only get more interesting and interesting every time we move on, because we will have the care providers there. We will have platforms presenting solution developers and providers. So we'll definitely keep you updated and look forward to seeing and hearing you there. This is the announcement for that. So 16th of November, starting at 10 o'clock. You saw initially in some of the initial slides that Alexander was showing some of the tools that we are developing. So we'll also have and we'll be working with platforms and others to present to them what it is exactly and how it can serve them and what they can do with those. So we'll have some events on those. There is also a MOOC that is being, so a massive open online course that is being developed within the project for different stakeholders where they can learn more. So that will also be coming up. And then, of course, we move into those matchmaking events with the pitch presentations and so on. So this will be very useful and even more so valuable for the different stakeholders involved in the entire open platform ecosystem. Then we're almost gearing up for our final event, which I have referenced before. But even before that, we will still look more in depth at a few capability gaps, specific needs, innovation needs, which will also provide input for our final project event, which, as I mentioned, will be early March, and for which more details will be coming up quite soon. And with this, we have gone through the presentation. You have seen initially some, let's say, content about the project and some of the things we do. Then after that, we were moving on to basically showing you opportunities of what is still to come. But obviously, we want to work with you and with that entire network that I was showing before of various projects, initiatives, networks, organizations, associations, to ultimately come to, on the one hand, a better understanding of open platforms, but on the other hand, even more importantly, better and more usage of those platforms to ultimately deliver effective and cost-effective and efficient and useful and usable and user-friendly solutions in the domain of active and healthy aging and active assisted living. So we look forward to working with you on that, and we are, of course, at this point open for any specific questions that you may have, any even suggestions or anything else that you want to ask or share with us. So we also check in the chat box. There were a few things coming in. There was one question earlier. So let's say a listing of a solution and a platform on the Open Information Hub is, of course, yes, free. There is no cost involved. So any platform provider, any solution developer, and so on can submit these. There are the forms available on the website. But you can also get in touch with us and we can guide you, or we can see with you how to go about it. And in addition to a pure listing, I would say there are, of course, also still those additional opportunities for an interview, which can be featured on the hub, but which will then also be or receive exposure through newsletter and social media and so on.
There is a question from Malcolm Fix. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Yeah.
To what extent, through the KPIs or other means, is Platform Uptake aiming to influence the design, configurability, control of the technologies from user perspective? Well, I'll stop my video. Our project does not seek to influence in any means future developments. It provides recommendation based on the analysis of the ecosystem, based on the analysis of the hindrances and success factors for the uptake of these platforms. So how this, of course, how all this collected knowledge is used, it's up to the developers of the technology. So our project seeks to promote this knowledge and to make recommendations. Malcolm, please let me know if this answer satisfies you.
Yeah, I think I would like to add to that indeed we're not as such developing or working on standards and so on, or even on the development of specific technology. So it's more a matter of well, coordinating and supporting what is out there and making sure that the stakeholders find each other and will also better understand and have more and better knowledge of open platforms and open solutions and open services, and what that means, what the benefits are, and why they should be used, or how they should be implemented. But by doing this, of course, ultimately, there may be a bit of let's say, influence into how people will select certain solutions, or how in the end they will be designed, and so on. So, but that's up to the actual players, the actors in the field themselves to obviously do that.
There is another question from Malcolm. Thank you very much for your participation, Malcolm. The issue relating to the personal data. Yes, that's also the issue. That's also a hurdle for the broader implementation of such technologies. We can report now that there are some projects, European Union funded projects, which seek to circumvent this problem by eliminating the relation of this data to a particular person. We can provide more information on these project activities via email, but that definitely, let's say, is a factor that influences the uptake of available and future technologies. I can report that throughout the weekly conversations that we have together with Frederick, with various stakeholders, that, for example, of course, I'm not binding myself to this statement, but we learned from a technology developer from Slovenia that, for example, in Australia, the problem with personal data is not so strictly regulated. Persons that are tending to trust more this technology. So yes, European level, that's a certain matter that needs to be solved, so the developers of technology can upscale their solutions.
I see also the message from Javier from Academy around best practices and use cases. This is indeed also an important issue that we're constantly looking for. Indeed, certain experiences, good practices, the practical use cases that are out there, we are very much open to receive those, and again to help us, but obviously the wider network to see and understand better what this is about. It's always best to present and to show things based on an actual case study, something that people can understand quite well. I think when in all our conversations, we obviously talk with a lot of people who are not necessarily technology savvy, and this includes myself and even a number of other partners in our consortium. So it is important to show and explain things in clear terms, and these use cases and good practices can help with this. So this is, I would say, also an open call to share any of those cases and practices with us. Again, the same as with the platforms and with the technological solutions, we are open to promote and present and show those cases through the various channels that we have and at the various events that we organize. With this, I'll just show here again our contact information. I think you know all of this or will have seen this, but make sure to follow us or to get in touch with us for any info, whether it's on the content of what we're doing or whether it's on all the upcoming opportunities, events, activities. We would be most happy to engage with you and to collaborate and work together.
Any last questions from you guys before we close up today's webinar? Thank you, Malcolm, for your participation and for the useful inputs. All right, so once again, on behalf of our co-host Frederick and the Platform Uptake Consortium as a whole, I would like to thank you for your participation in today's webinar. Don't forget to register for our next event in November, which will be really, really exciting. And as Frederick mentioned at the beginning, each event will be really exciting and informative for you. And in case you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us anytime via one of the channels presented on this slide. Thank you very much once again for your participation, and wish you a nice rest of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you to all. Thank you.